Welcome to World Trade in 1500 Notes video. So our first question, you need to be following along on the notes packet. You can find it on Blackboard if you forgot the one from class. But our first question is, what is trade? Trade is the action of buying and selling goods and services. So people are buying and selling products that they make. Services would include things like doctors' services, nurses' services, teachers' services, that kind of thing. Another example would be a clothing manufacturer is providing a service by manufacturing clothing for the company. So there's some different trade routes that happen in 1500. Okay, on your sheet you need to be writing down maybe the route that they take, or the start point and the end point. Okay, so you know where they are in the world. If you want, pause the video and draw a map of the Eastern Hemisphere, Asia, Africa, and Europe, and draw the routes on there. That's another option. So the first one is going to be the Silk Road. It's going to travel from China. Eventually it will start in Beijing, go through China, above India, go through Persia, go through the Ottoman Empire, and end up in Constantinople, where the goods are then sent up into Europe. Make sure you have that written down. Next is going to be the Indian Ocean routes. We're talking about these blue lines that go along the coastline of Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, Persia, around India, and over to southeastern Asia. So it's on the coast of the Indian Ocean. Next trade route is going to be the Trans-Sahara trade routes. Okay, we're starting up north along the Mediterranean coast, and we're going down to the Songhai Empire along the Niger River. Okay, Gao is going to be the capital of the Songhai, and Timbuktu is one of their wealthiest cities. They have lots of gold going in there, so they follow these two Europe routes. Following, we have the Black Sea, or the Baltic to Black Sea. The Baltic's up in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to go through Russia, down to the Black Sea, and then across the Black Sea to Constantinople. And from there we can get into the Mediterranean. Then we have our Western Europe sea and river routes. Okay, remember we talked about this in our World in 1500 notes. We have all of these black routes and pink routes along the water, and the red along the Mediterranean. Okay, we're going to see ships moving along, and remember, we don't really have a lot of roads at this point. So anything in the interior of the continent is mainly done by rivers. And last but not least, we have our South China Sea routes. These are the routes that go from China around Thailand to connect with the Indian Ocean trade routes. This is where we're going to see some spices coming from Java and China. And it's going to be a water route rather than a land route. Alright, so now that you have the basics of our trade routes, let's talk a little bit about what items were traded. And I hope you enjoy our little cartoon. I'll trade you a little pig for some leftover grandma. So first off, from China, we're going to have paper products moving. We're going to have the compass, since the Chinese invent that, silk, porcelain, our china, plates, cups, things like that, and tea. These products originate in China and are going to be moving towards Europe through the Silk Road or the South China Sea routes. From India, we're going to see textiles, we're going to see the number system, we're going to see spices and gems. Think spices like cinnamon and cloves and nutmeg and pepper and all of that, and then gems like diamonds and rubies and all of those. So they're going to be moving from India to China, and then also the other direction from India towards Persia, the Ottoman Empire, Africa, and Europe. Here's an example of our numeral systems. Figure out which one we use today. You can also see the Roman system, the Greek system, the Egyptian system, the Babylonian system, the Chinese system, and the Mayan system. Why do we use the one today? Well, it has 0. And it's fairly easy to do things like algebra. Can you imagine doing algebra with the Babylonian system, having to draw out all the little triangles and sticks? It'd get very complicated. From the Middle East, we're going to see the movement of astronomy, or the study of the stars. We're going to see medicine moving, and we're going to see mathematics. Okay? All of these things originate in the Middle East and are going to spread along our trade routes up towards Europe, down towards Africa, and over towards India and China. From Africa, we're going to have ivory, which is the elephant tusks down here. It's now endangered, so it's hard to buy ivory. We're also going to be seeing salt in this white picture and gold. So what routes are these going to be moving on? Probably the Trans-Sahara routes. So take a look at our goods on the left side and our routes on the right side, and what I'd like you to do is take a pencil or pen and draw a line from textiles to the routes that it would be moving on. Might be more than one. So go ahead and stop the video and think about that. Get that done. And then when we switch to the next slide, we're going to be answering these questions. I'd like you to answer them by yourself. Okay, why were regional trading patterns important to empires and societies in the 1500s? And the second question is, trade still as important today? Is it more important? Is it less important? Is it the same? And why? So I'd like you to start answering those here at home watching the video, and then we will discuss this when we start class. Thanks for watching.